Hi, I'm Nadya.
And I'm Pam, and we work at Disability Rights Wisconsin with people with disabilities who have been victims of violence. I've been thinking a lot about how people with disabilities may be feeling isolated right now. Many people still have caregivers coming into their home because they have needs with the variety of daily activities: bathing, dressing, cooking, finances, medication, medical issues, a large variety of issues. Sometimes they may look forward to that caregiver coming into their home, but sometimes they might rather not have that person coming in because that person doesn't respect them, or they feel like they can't refuse them coming in even though they don't like it.
I think it would be really hard to tell a caregiver to stop doing something. Like, what if they got upset and treated you worse? Or what if they just decided to stop coming to the house? That would be so scary. So do you think that could be abuse?
Well, I really think that the person who's experiencing it gets to decide if it's abusive or not. It might be just an issue that they feel comfortable communicating with their caregiver or support person to say, hey, this doesn't feel comfortable, or I don't like this. And it's about opening up the lines of communication and really using their voice to talk about how they're feeling about what's going on. But sometimes that might not feel safe. So they have to decide, can I do this right now? Can I talk to this person? Is it a misunderstanding? Is it something that they're really doing intentional? And then what do I do about it?
That seems confusing. What kind of things are considered abuse?
Well, there are several ways that caregivers can be abusive. Some are easier to identify than others, for sure. There's violence, physical violence. That's somebody hurting you, punching you, pinching you, pushing you down, hurting your body in some way. Sometimes caregivers do things that make us feel uncomfortable, but they're not intentionally hurtful. That's not what I'm talking about here. This is stuff that intentionally is hurting you and physically hurts your body. The other one would be sexual violence or sexual abuse. And that's when somebody who's your caregiver touches your private parts for reasons that aren't for taking care of you or needed for your medical issues or for health and hygiene. Caregivers don't have the right to touch you sexually. They don't have the right to tell you that you have to do something or perform a sexual act in order for them to continue to come and provide care for you. That would be considered sexual abuse.
Another way would be economic abuse, when the caregiver, whether or not they're paid or they're unpaid, uses your property or your money to benefit them rather than you.
Yeah. Withholding or misusing or delaying needed supports is another form of abuse. That's when the caregiver decides that they're going to not give you the medication that you're medically supposed to receive, or they might take it for themselves or sell it to somebody in some way. They may refuse to give you the devices or your wheelchair or things like that that you might need to get around. So they refuse to let you have access to the things that you need to function in your daily life.
Another way that you might experience abuse would be minimizing or justifying and blaming. So if the caregiver makes you feel bad, like if you say you're in pain or that your feelings are hurt, and they tell you that you're not feeling pain or what you're thinking is not real. Or maybe they blame you for making them treat you poorly. Or maybe they tell other people that you shouldn't be believed.
Yeah, there could be isolation too. I know that many of us are feeling isolated right now because of what's going on with the stay-at-home orders. But this is a different form of isolation. This is where the caregiver takes away your ability to communicate with family or friends. Maybe it's your phone, maybe it's your computer or your internet service, maybe it's your mail. And they're taking it away and not allowing you to have access to the people that you want to have access to in a safe way.
Another form of abuse could be emotional abuse. That would be if a caregiver makes fun of you, calls you names, especially having to do with your disability, maybe laughs at you, or if they ignore your personal requests, like things that you like, or things having to do with your own culture or your traditions or your religion.
Yeah, and there could also be intimidation. That's when your caregiver threatens you, or makes you feel like if you don't do something, they might hurt you or a family member or an animal or a service animal that you have. And it might not be that they use the words that say they're going to hurt you. It just might be your gut feeling or the way that they act around you or posture to you that might make you feel intimidated.
So what can you do to get help or feel safe?
Well, one idea is to make a safety plan. A plan helps to give you ideas about what to do if things get tough or dangerous. And there could be two forms of safety plans you could work on. One could be, how do I alleviate some of the anxiety or the depression or sadness that I'm going through from being isolated? That's not about abuse. That's just more about keeping your mental health okay. Maybe it's going for a walk outside. Maybe it's listening to music that you enjoy. Maybe it's talking to a friend on the phone. But this safety plan would be more of a safety plan that you would plan ahead so that if somebody was in your life, in your home, threatening you, or you were feeling abused in some way that we listed, that you would have a plan, who to call, where to go, how to get help so that you're not isolated and you're not being abused.
So what about if you want to talk to someone about how you're feeling or you want help making a safety plan?
Well, many of us think that the whole world is shut down right now. But the truth is there's people that we call essential workers, and we often think of nurses or doctors as essential workers. But there's also people that work at your local domestic violence and sexual assault agencies that are essential workers. And they're there just for people who need to talk to somebody about being abused or about feeling that you're being intimidated or whatever that might be around that. So you could call and talk to them and they will talk to you on the phone. There's a national deaf domestic violence hotline that you could use. There's also national sexual assault and domestic violence hotlines that there's people that you could call, you could email, you could text. There's a variety of ways that you could reach out so that if one way doesn't work for you, you could work another way. You could reach out to a friend and just say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. How do I get help? Or can you help me call somebody? Or can you help me figure out a plan on what to do? You could also reach out to a case manager or a social worker in the disability system that works with you and explain to them what's going on and ask them to help you get a different provider, a different caregiver to come in and help you so that you don't feel unsafe in your home. But the thing we really want you to understand is that none of these things might feel safe to you. And the only person who gets to decide what is safe for you is you. So if it is safe to reach out for help right now, please do so. If it's not safe and you need to wait a little bit or make a plan, then you get to decide that as well. You get to decide what's best for you.
This is a lot to think about, and I hope it can be helpful to others. If you are a person with a disability who is experiencing abuse, please know there is help available.
You have the right to feel safe in your home.
You have the right to feel safe in your home.
You have the right to feel safe in your own home. Here are some things that you could do to keep yourself safe.
Use your voice.
Reach out for help.
Remember, only you know what's best for you.